Hello and welcome to the Frontington and Backwoods Railway. This episode is in two halves. The first half is about work I've already done on the layout. The second half is about work I'm planning on doing to the layout. Let's begin. With the boards installed and the main bits of scenery in place, something else that needed to be added back in was all the little details. The people, the horse and cart, the random assortment of platform gubbins. And with all of those back in their proper places, the layout feels a lot more lived in, more alive. Functionally more important, though, was getting the points and signals working again. The switch panel is in a slightly different position since the move, which means the distances to the servos are all slightly longer or shorter, so I had to do some reorganising of the extension cables. But with a little creativity and some tweaking of servo positions, everything is now working again. In fact, I've also been experimenting with using serial communication to control the Arduino from a web browser, but that's a story for another video. I cut some more wood and made a frame for the non-scenic loop. That's 5mm ply on top, left over from cladding the walls of the shed. It's not as thick as the usual recommendation, but it's not going to have any scenery on it, so it'll probably be fine. As for the track itself, I bought some new Pico second radius curves from D-Rails, and a new point with a matching curve radius. Now, the scenic side uses mostly FlexiTrack, but where it doesn't matter, it's absolutely fine to use the slightly cheaper SetTrack stuff. It's smooth and reliable, and guaranteed not to have any kinks. And that means I can finally run trains all the way around the layout again, if I want to. In amongst all of this productivity, I hit upon a problem. I have no signal. My laptop gets no Wi-Fi in the shed, and my phone gets no reception at all. And I thought that was odd. And then I realised I've put foil insulation on the roof and walls of the shed. I've inadvertently made myself a Faraday cage that blocks all electromagnetic signals. I mean, that's great if the shed gets struck by lightning, but it's less great if I want internet. So now I'm going to have to think about replacing some of the insulation with foam panels instead, so that my precious radio waves can get through. So that's what I've done. Now on to part 2. In a previous video I showed you this 3D model I'd made in Tinkercad of my baseboards. What I didn't show you was that that was only half the plan. I have more space in the new shed, which means it needs filling with more railway. Wrapping around the end of the shed will be a small fiddle yard, maybe just a couple of sidings really, nothing too complicated. And then it'll feed into another scenic area, which will be another station. I've played with a few ideas for this station, and I've seen various comments on previous videos suggesting some hilarious names, so thank you for those. I want it to feel distinct from Frontington, so it'll need to bring something new to the table. I thought about having a turntable, but in the end decided that the branch line isn't really major enough to need big tender engines that would need turning. At this point, it's probably worth explaining the context of where these stations are. Now, I'm not modelling a real-life location, there isn't an actual town of Frontington you can go and visit, but it's loosely inspired by the Primrose Line, which is a little branch line in South Devon going down to Kingsbridge. and I imagined Frontington being a fictional extension to that branch line. But now that I'm adding in another station to my layout, it's time to fill in some more fictional details. So here's a map of the entire branch line. It begins with a junction off the main line, at a town I'm going to call Mainly. The single-track branch line then heads into the countryside, winding its way through the hills and valleys of the South Hams. And the first station we reach is Candlewick. Not much happens here, to be honest, it's just a halt. Moving on. Heading south from there, we then come to Garth Bridge. There's a little more going on at Garth Bridge. There are 2 platforms, allowing trains to pass. And that means signals, points, and a signal box. And if you're into your signalling details, note that this branch line would be operating under the principle of one engine in steam, I think, with tokens being exchanged at Garth Bridge to allow access north and south of here. Moving on, we get to Loadswell, another little halt. Not much to say about that either. Then we pull into what would originally have been the final destination of the branch line, Tutherside. And this is a slightly larger town, built on the side of a river, with the station being part of a small dock area. And this is the new station I'm going to be modelling, on the other side of the shed. Instead of basing this station on Kingsbridge, which is actually not that dissimilar from what I have at Frontington, I decided it would be more interesting to take inspiration from another South Devon station, GWR. And that's a real station you can actually visit in real life. It's about the right size for what I have space for, and although I won't be replicating it exactly, it has given me some fun ideas. I've flipped the layout round to fit my space, and ended up with this. It's a single platform, and I've made it straight this time to make it a little easier to construct. One side has a runaround loop, while the other side is a bay platform, just like the real GWR. And there's a single siding for loading and unloading into the dock area. I've even put some thought into the signalling, working out what sort of signals I'll need and in what positions, and integrated all of that into my web-based signal box simulator, but again, that's a story for another video. Since Tutherside was originally intended to be the end of the line, the extension to Frontington doesn't carry on out the other side of the station. It's still a terminus, so trains will have to turn around and go down the Frontington spur, passing backwards on the way. So that's the plan. I hope you like it. I can't say exactly when construction will start, as that's partly dependent on saving money for track, and partly dependent on me finding time to do it around my already busy lifestyle. But along the way, it'll give me opportunities to do more scenery, try my hand at making water, and will generally make operating the model railway more complicated. Yeah, and fun. Definitely more fun. But also complicated. If you want to join me on this journey, you can hit that subscribe button down below. You can leave a comment below telling me how much you like the name Tutherside, or tell me what you would have called it instead. And you can even support me financially with the link in the description, if you feel so inclined. Or you can just give this video a friendly thumbs up. Either way, thanks for watching both halves. Bye for now.